Gary Franchi here, Next News Network. I'm sitting here with Aaron Del Mar, who has just announced that he is the running mate to Darren Bailey for governor. Aaron, great to see you.
Thanks for having me on.
So you gave a great speech out there. The crowd was going crazy. This is a big day for you and a big day for the state of Illinois. I'm a citizen of this state, and there was one thing you said up there about when you go on vacation. You know, you sometimes you're kind of afraid to say you're from Illinois because people know, like, all they know about Illinois is, you know, Michael Jordan, Al Capone, and then we have governors that go to prison.
Right.
So right now we've got a governor, J.B. Pritzker. He's taken the national stage. He's going on talk shows, and he's doing these really curious things every morning. He goes on this walk, pretending to be in some safe part of the South Side. Break down what exactly what is he trying to accomplish with those morning walks?
I don't know about the morning walks, but I can tell you he's out there auditioning to try to be the nominee for the Democratic Party for president in 2028. I think that he's abandoned Illinois, and he's using us as a petri dish to try to see, you know, what would get him some votes in California, New York, and all other blue states by trying those far left policies that don't fit well here in our great state. Illinois is a 45-55 Republican Democrat state, and so we have a lot of really strong conservatives. We have a lot of agriculture, as well as the city of Chicago and the urban and downtown area. And I think that with Darren Bailey and I, we're going to have a great team that can govern the whole state, not just the North, but also the South.
A lot of people are concerned about election integrity. We saw it happened in 2020. And of course, Illinois is known for its deep corruption. A lot of questions about integrity for elections here. How do you intend to combat those to make sure that we have a fair and free election?
Well, that's one of the cool things about being the Cook County Republican Chairman is that it's my job to appoint election judges in our counties. And we have a big program that's going to be pushing outreach to different communities to try to get more election judges in our area so we have more eyes on the ball. We're going to be doing that not only on early voting and on election day, but we're also going to be doing it on the tabulation of absentee ballots and ballots that come in after the election. And so that gives us a really good opportunity to weed out a lot of that corruption that has happened in our state for so many years.
Now, Cook County, people, you look at the map. I mean, you look at the map, the whole state is red. Cook County is blue. And everyone feels that Cook County, Chicago, they basically just dictate what happens in Springfield with all that corruption. How do we balance that deep blue territory? I mean, with clearly the majority of the state being red. What's the plan? What's the play for Chicago? What's the play for Cook County?
I think it's a two-part way. Number one is that we need to get what we call unreliable voters. Those are sometimes one-issue voters or those that only like one specific candidate. Like if you saw in the 2024 election, there were 2 Chicago wards that Donald Trump won. And it was a great example of unreliable voters and Democrats coming over. The last time we had 2 Chicago wards won by a Republican was Ronald Reagan.
Wow.
So that's number one. Number two is in the southern areas where there's a ton of Republican votes that can be harvested, we need to get higher vote turnout. Where, like, if you're down in some of the southern areas, they have a 54% voter turnout. We get that number to 85%.
Wow.
We can,
counterbalance what's happening in Chicago, right?
That's right. We can counterbalance what's happening in Chicago. But we still have to win hearts and minds in the most populous county in Illinois, the second largest in the United States. And I think it's going to be by messaging correctly to our suburban areas. You got to remember there's 30 townships in Cook County, 50 wards. The 30 townships are very large and have for a long time been Republican strongholds. So we need to engage with our voters and talk about issues, those 80% of issues we all agree upon, right? It's affordability, it's public safety, and it's education. And if we target those 3 main things, I think we're going to be able to get a lot more people, not just Republicans, but independents and soft Democrats, to see our point of view and cast their votes for us.
Mayor Brandon Johnson, you mentioned it on stage, just recently said that law enforcement is a problem. And I heard him say that. I was kind of taken back. Like, how can a mayor who relies on his law enforcement to keep his citizens safe, how can he come out and say that? What was your reaction when you heard him?
Well, I was incredibly frustrated. I mean, if you know anything about what's going on in Chicago, you know that we're at an all-time low as far as officers. And that's from the fact that they're trying to defund the police, that they had a huge mass retirement of police officers that are like, hey, you don't respect us. It's unsafe for us because if they shoot us, we die. If we shoot them, we go to jail. And that's not an environment you want to work in. And so they retire, or they leave early, or they go to a different job, and it's left us in an abandoned safety program. And so we need to reinvest a lot into the training. We have to reinvest in recruitment and getting really good officers on board, place them in the biggest crime rate in areas, and develop those communities and those relationships so we can lower that crime. But to say that the crime doesn't exist is ludicrous. On top of that, we have an opportunity to get free law enforcement from the federal government, from the White House. Doesn't cost us $1. Donald Trump is committed to trying to keep Illinoisans safe, but our governor wants to play too much in politics and doesn't want to keep his own citizens safe, and he's basically abandoned his number one priority, and that is keeping your constituents safe. And so it's incredibly frustrating, but I can tell you this, on day one with Darren Bailey in the governor's mansion in Springfield, he's going to reverse that. He's going to bring in every single resource, regardless if there's a Republican or Democrat in the White House, and say, we need help. We'll take it if you're willing to give it to us, because he cares about Illinois first.
So do I. So do our viewers. Aaron, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Best of luck to you.
Great to see you, Gary.